All right, everybody, before we get into today's show, I just wanted you to know that over at Equalife, we are giving away a 20% off discount on all protocols store-wide. That means all the functional medicine protocols. You probably heard about the CBO protocol for the gut, mold protocol for mold, the parasupport protocol for parasites, the functional medicine detox for functional medicine detoxing, and much more are all available at 20% off while supplies last. These are world-renowned protocols used by thousands of practitioners in their practice as well around the world. Head on over to stevencabral.com/shop to take advantage of this offer. Now, enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified doctor of naturopathy, Dr. Stephen Cabral, shares with you exactly how you can reverse aging, take back your health, and live a life full of energy and passion, with new 20-minute episodes every single day to keep you healthy and engaged. Now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 2914 of the Cabral Concept. Excited to get into our Cabral House Calls this weekend, just like we do every weekend, answering about 10 to 12 questions from the community. Yesterday was a great one. We had a bunch of questions that came in. I'm actually just reopening that document right now. From yesterday, we had a question from Shelly. We had a bunch of questions from Paris. We had a question from Cynthia on thyroid. We had another one on hormones from Teresa. And now we're picking up here today with Paul. So again, the best place to always ask your questions is at stevencabral.com actually it's at cabralsupportgroup.com. That's a free group. You can ask all your questions there. We'll help find the right podcast for you. We'll answer questions with all of our amazing Equalife coaches in there. And of course, if you still have a question, then you're not unable to wait the 10 to 12 weeks that we answer it live on the show. Please do feel free to ask that at stevencabral.com/askcabral. I love being able to answer our community's questions. All right, so let's dive into Paul's question first. Paul is writing, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. Love your show and your ability to stay measured in polarizing times. I know you are evidence-based, and I'm wondering if you've looked deeper into the blue zones you reference. The book, now a Netflix series, is largely anecdotal and cherry-picked data and certainly cannot be referenced as scientific fact. The takeaway from the blue zones is lifestyle. Movement, culture, limiting processed foods, etc. And that is what needs to be focused on. Interested in your thoughts and thank you." Yeah, happy to answer this. And I would say that some of it is anecdotal, meaning like there isn't a specific scientific study on this, and this. However, there are actually scientific studies on the blue zones. So I teach this inside of High Performance Health. So as you said, I'm very science-based and I try to be measured in my approach, meaning like there's so many, unfortunately, doctors and health experts online, and all they're doing are they're just saying sensational things just to gain more followers. And that to me is just not why I ever got into this. I got into this because I was sick. I had health issues. So you'll never see me play that game. I just think it's too much, right? That's too much. Healthcare professionals should not be playing that game. But anyway, I don't want to get into that rant right there. So there is a lot of actual scientific data though on the blue zones and the blue zone style lifestyle, meaning like, Paul, you may not know this. And again, I talk about this at highperformancehealth.org, is that they've taken blue zone, like the 9 tenets, and they've brought them into areas in the United States. And they've run studies on this, and then they've shown health markers before and after, and then life expectancy. So while I say yes, like it's difficult to correlate all of these things to good health, meaning like, I don't think that you need to have a glass of wine at 5 o'clock to live to, an average age of 93 years old, which is obviously much higher than the 74 to 77 years old in the US. But there's, what comes with that? Oh, well, camaraderie and relaxation and an earlier dinner at 5 o'clock or so and going to bed earlier. And so, yeah, I get it. But the lifestyle that is preached, walking 10,000 steps, being more mindful, having, friends and relationships. I think these are all things that are good to live by. And there are individual studies on each one of those. So hopefully that's helpful. And I appreciate you writing in. All right, Elizabeth's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you so much for taking my question. Over the past 2 to 3 months, one large pore in my cheek appeared out of nowhere that seems to not be blocked. One more that has recently appeared under my eye, but it isn't quite as drastic as the one on my cheek. And now one on my chin. I find it odd that these insanely large pores suddenly appeared with no other pores around them. Please help. Over the past month, I recently started Trentinoin, and I'm hoping that it'll help, but it hasn't seemed to make a difference so far. Again, these pores don't seem to be blocked. What might you suggest? I would appreciate any thoughts you may have. Just an FYI, I searched your podcast because I wanted a quick answer, but no avail. Yeah, I don't know if I have one on a large pore in the cheek. Now, I will say that overall, some people have genetically larger pores than others. Like you can see this across families, mainly on the cheeks. And in Ayurvedic medicine, you can say, oh yes, the Kapha body type actually typically has smaller pores and more porcelain-like skin and all those great things, or more of the Pitta or maybe Pitta Vata has more pores in their cheeks. And I've seen that probably, across different spectrums. And it also has to do with hormones and the amount of sebum, oil you produce, etc. So I get it. I see that you used like an over-the-counter medication to try to shrink the pores. What I would do is this. If you don't already sauna, I would sauna. Sauna over time helps to extract and push out a lot of the trapped oil in the skin. The second thing that you can do is use a toner on the face that's maybe not too harsh. An inexpensive one might be a witch hazel. Another one might be a little apple cider vinegar before you apply all of your different moisturizers or oils. And let me do a couple more. Vitamin C can be a helpful one. I don't want to go into deeper ones beyond that. I don't think we need to start talking about microneedling just yet. I do have shows on that. But let's step back just for a moment. What have you been eating that's different? Anything, even healthy foods or nutritional supplements or anything for the last 2 months or so? Like, what did you start to do before these random one-off pores started to appear? And that's always what I ask my private wellness clients. Like, what changed? What was different? Medications, supplements, foods, pillowcase, anything. Like, why might it have appeared? There's always an underlying answer. And so then if not, again, we can start to use even just the steam over like a hot pot, towel over the top, steam in the face, just to see if these are clogged pores. They very well could be. Any new cosmetics, any new moisturizers, even if they're supposedly the most clean in the world, they can be, but it can just be, an issue for you, for your particular skin. So I would look at that. And then there's also the ability to use a clay mask that can be really helpful. I've talked about those on the show before, but typically, we're just using bentonite clay with a little bit of water. All right. So Elizabeth, bunch of things right there. Hopefully one of them pans out just for you. Lara's up next, I believe it's Lara. Hi, Dr. C. Hope you and your family are well. We are. Thank you very much. I'm wondering about baking. What are okay ingredients of baking powder? Is it okay to just use baking soda instead? Sodium bicarbonate. All cream of tartar baking powders I found have cornstarch in them. And also, are silicone molds okay to use? Or what are best for baking cakes, muffins, etc., even nonstick if you line it with parchment? Thank you for recommendations. Okay, let's work through these. So baking soda and baking powder are not interchangeable. That's really important to look at that. Also, these are not dangerous products if there are no added fillers to them. It is the baking powder that is the one that we need to make sure is aluminum free. The difference between a baking powder and baking soda, we'll see if I can remember this off the top of my head. They're both activated in an acid, but one needs a liquid to activate it. And I wish I could tell you exactly which one. So all I'm saying is I'm not the the master chef out here or master baker, but they're not interchangeable. So you can still use both though. And I do use both. We use both in my family. We just make sure that we're using some that are completely clean. And again, they're just sodium bicarbonate. And then there's typically just, again, a little bit added. I can find the brands that we use. I know one of them is Bob's Red Mill. And I know another one for the baking powder is, it says like literally aluminum free on it right now. It's a red container, and none of them have cornstarch. So keep looking on that and you'll be able to find them. They're all over the place. We get ours at Sprouts or Whole Foods, and you can also order it off Amazon as well. Okay, next one. Are silicone molds okay? I don't really have an issue with people using silicone molds. I have no problem with that. And then baking muffins, cakes, yes, a nonstick pan. So we don't use any nonstick pans, but if you lined it with parchment, you'd be okay. Because the parchment, the non-bleached parchment, would be the buffer between that and the nonstick pan. So I see no issues there at all. I mean, I'll use I'll use parchment paper when I do my baking for my lunch, where I just throw my veggies on it. I just throw my veggies on it, heat those up, take those out, add a little bit of my chickpeas or beans to that if it's lunch, a little sea salt, and then some olive oil, and I'm good to go. Like, that's my lunch. So really quick, really simple, especially if you're busy on the run. No issues there at all. All right. Thanks for writing in, Lara. Hopefully that was helpful. Cynthia's up next. Cynthia says, hi, Dr. Brawl. I've noticed a surge in health influencers advocating for the anti-aging benefits of protein and weightlifting, recommending a minimum of 1.2 to 1.6 grams of animal-based protein per kilogram of body weight. They also encourage resistance training over extensive cardio. However, I'm intrigued by the growing number of anti-aging scientists turned to veganism and reproducing their protein intake. This is conflicting information that has me puzzled, and I appreciate your insights. Thank you for all your wonderful work. I deeply value your experience and guidance, and I'm grateful to have you as a trusted resource. Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate that. Yeah, so there's a big difference between health influencers who want body transformation and the scientists that truly study anti-aging. Like, there's no discrepancy. I've done a bunch of podcasts on this. Cynthia, I would write in at cabralsupportgroup.com and ask, can you share with me the podcasts that Dr. Brawl has on body transformation versus anti-aging? So here's the thing. I've been doing this a long time. So I've been doing this since the mid-90s, and more specifically the late 90s. And if you want to transform your body, you want to get in 1 gram of protein per basically lean pound of body mass. There's no doubt about that. Like, there's just no doubt about it. You will lose more body fat and gain more muscle with all things being equal, same workout program, and you're displacing some of your carbs or fat to add in more of the protein. No doubt about that. So you will be able to do better at body transformation, which is more of an outside vanity metric. And I'm not against that. I help people with that literally every day. Like, I have no problem with that. However, it increases IGF-1, it increases mTOR, it decreases autophagy, and it decreases AMPK. So when you see anti-aging scientists, like every single anti-aging scientist says exactly the same thing. There's one very popular doctor that still pushes for more protein in the diet, and that's only because he is very much into performance, body transformation, and exercise. And I understand and I respect that, but that is different than anti-aging. So at some point, you need to decide, what is your true goal? And if your true goal is longevity and anti-aging, well, for sure, literally the pathophysiology of disease much of it is predicated on increasing mTOR and increasing IGF-1. Now, the funny thing is, these same doctors will then take things like metformin and rapamycin and other things to actually decrease mTOR. It literally makes no sense to me. I understand like what they're trying to do, but they want to be known as being in great shape and more body transformation. I get it, understand it, but there's no data that shows that helps to live longer. None at all. Like, literally none at all. So I explain this in depth. I have a whole very in-depth, unbiased anti-aging program at highperformancehealth.org if you'd like to check that out. All right. So thank you for writing in as well. All right, Crystal is up next. And again, I don't even like that. I'd rather the answer be eat more animal protein, live longer. Because like, I would do that because meaning like I enjoy that more. I really do. But I don't do it because that is not the truth in terms of living longer. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to live a super long life. I don't know. But I'm going to do the things that I do know that are proven out to get me closer to that, especially with a history of health-based issues. So again, if you're a super healthy human, you've never had any health issues, there's no real, cancer or anything like that in your family, yeah, you might be able to get away with it. No doubt about it. But what I try to do is find a happy medium. So I don't want to go too catabolic, right? So go too low on protein or no animal protein and become but my body would become more emaciated. It really would. And so I keep some in, but I don't go overboard on it. But we live in a culture. We live in a world where we just go overboard all the way to one side or the other. Like, is there nowhere to meet in the middle? That's what I ask. Like, literally, is there nowhere to meet in the middle? I think there is. All right. Crystal's up next. We got one more question here today. Why does the body react to weather, such as changes in weather, rain, snow, humidity, barometric changes day to night? It's really interesting because I've looked into this before because so many people, I should say enough people, do talk about how their body is more sensitive to humidity or their body is more sensitive when a storm is coming. And I believe that there is actually data behind this. I don't have that off the top of my head, Crystal. I wish I did for you. But the dampness in Ayurveda, they do talk about that. So I would like to share with you knowledge base that I have from Ayurvedic-based medicine, rather than over like the let's call it the energetic or electrical based body. I bet there is data on that. And I would love for someone to leave that in the comments. If you could do that, especially on YouTube, our new growing channel, that would be really helpful. But from Ayurvedic medicine, it absolutely affects those. So like, let's say there's more wind or there's more of a hurricane or storm coming. It's people with more joint-based issues are said to be affected more by that. They can actually feel more of the achiness or the creakiness. Those people who are in more damper climates, when they have rheumatoid arthritis, or they have arthritic conditions in general, or they're more towards being on the overweight side, that dampness does what? Well, it increases kapha, which is earth and water. And that wind that I was talking about before is more movement, which is vata, which is the ether in the air. And the people who are in more of the damp climates, they actually feel and find relief when they go to a dry climate. So think about going from southern Florida, or anywhere in Florida, to then Arizona. You move from a humid climate to a dry climate. They say that they're less joint pain, feel better overall, less dampness in the body, less kapha, less heaviness. So it's interesting to look at that from an Ayurvedic perspective. I would love it if someone had any data on that from an energetic-based perspective, from like the body literally being electricity, the body always being in movement. Do we see that correlate to rain, snow, humidity, barometric changes? Now, the last thing I'll say to you is this: get your body as healthy as humanly possible, right? Get it balanced so that all of these different changes, they don't necessarily affect you as much as maybe other people that have greater imbalances. Now, for a lot of people, not enough sunshine, they feel a little bit more lower mood. I get that. That does affect people to varying degrees. So get your body as healthy as humanly possible, so a lot of these things just don't affect you one way or another. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the show. I appreciate you. Again, I thank you. I will be back tomorrow with our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Take care. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning into the show. And before you head off, I just want to make sure you do not miss this offer, which probably only happens once per year over at Equilife, and that is saving 20% off all of our functional medicine protocols. That includes our best-selling and most popular functional medicine detox, our CBO protocol for gut health, our mold protocol for mold-based issues, our parasupport protocol for parasites, and so much more. Heavy metal detox, you'll be able to find them all by going to stevencabral.com/shop. You'll see the 20% discount already marked down. Head on over, take advantage of this offer. They're the same protocols used worldwide by thousands of practitioners, and I recommend them for you as well. Again, to take advantage of the 20% savings, saving you $25 to $50+ off, head on over to stevencabral.com/shop while supplies last.